And we are back with Shark Motorsport, now into the 1960s. When we left, we had just obtained a new speed record for our company of 235 miles per hour. This was a 55 mile per hour improvement over our 1950 car. What we're going to do now is take a look at what we did to this new engine and what our plans are for the early 1960s into our future 1970 car. So the Ocean 2 prototype, as you can see here, we have the Proto 50 and a Proto 62. So this is based on a 6.2 liter aluminum block and head, dual overhead cam 4 valve. Is it going to compete with these insane motors from the other companies? I don't know. But we created our motor to best fit our company and planned out for the future. And our goal was to switch from front engine to a mid-engine supercar. To go mid-engine with a gigantic engine and turbocharger just wasn't going to happen. So that's why we went with the 6.2 liter. This is, preliminary stages. As I said, this version will not have turbos, so this is the most we're going to get out of it. But this is set at 700 horsepower, 446 torque, which is a pretty huge increase over our last engine, which was 570 horsepower. And we hope to improve on that number before the car actually comes out. So the Amakua 2 is a mid-engine car. It was chosen with the idea in mind that it will first host this 6.2 liter, and then it will host the turbocharger. And we had to wait until now to develop it because we were waiting on the mid-transverse technology. It was the only way to fit this size engine into a mid-body, was to go transverse, and that was just unlocked. So now we got to rush that body into production before the end of the decade. So we're keeping the original Amakua around. It's a 2+2 and then a 2-seat roadster. This will be our volume car. I know the body's pretty old at a 1945, but it's better than nothing, and we can only do one car per decade. So this is what we have. The reason for keeping the old engine is because of this long development. So we kept developing the Ocean 1. And it will go into the original Amakua. So we didn't change much here. Nothing to change really. It's got sports tires. We kept with steel instead of magnesium. Solid disc brakes. It does have the semi-clad. Best we can go here. Phonograph. We didn't go handmade yet. I think the ultimate goal will be to switch to handmade. But we left it at sport, as we wanted to hit as wide of a market as we could. Where handmade, you can tell these are going into the yellow a little bit more. So nothing too special about that. Alright, so let's take a quick sneak peek at the Amakua 2. As I said, this is not even the same engine we're going to be using in the final. In fact, I just put the same engine that the Amakua 1 got, the detuned, I put in here. As there's no reason for this version to go with the super high horsepower, as we weren't getting many sales of that anyways. So, here it is. This is the body that we decided to go with. I actually have not used this body before, so I had to do a new quick design. Almost all the cars I have already have designs in Sandbox, but had to do a new one for this, which was fun. I like doing it. It's trying to give it that little shark look here. With keeping to the era a little bit. Not that I did a ton of research on that. It's got some nice wide front tires. Look at those things. Same kind of styling as their other cars. We do have the first windows to the engine here, if you want to call them windows. They're more like kind of grates here. But you can see through there and see the engine. Gives it some cooling as well. More for exhaust cooling, not actual cooling of the engine. So yeah, there it is. There is the Amakua 2. So I did set this up a little bit for what we were going for with the fastest car. So it stayed with the hard long life tires, magnesium, give it that prestige, solid disc brakes. So same setup as the other Amakua Sport and phonograph for entertainment. None of this changed. So now on this car, it does say that we're going to sell at a price of around $38,000. We're going to sell about 23 of them, which is better than what we were selling on the old Amakua Extreme Edition. Our factory is set up to make 37, so that should be fine. You know, I think with our increased marketing, hopefully we'll hit that number anyways. 86% profit, so we'll actually be making some money, not the first year, but after that on it. So now the tough part. So, as you can see, we only have $3 million in the bank. We are not, along with being beaten for top speed by both Razzo and Dattmer, we somehow fell into a worse financial position than them. We only have a company value of $34 million with $3 million cash. The good news is we do have our own V12 engine factory. We do have what will be 2 car factories when this is done. The new car factory with the Amakua 2 is going to be a tiny factory, and then we have a small factory for what will be our mass production, eventually the GT car. So we do have some assets building up for us, which is good. I mean, in total it's $18 million, which cash-wise is going to hurt us, but the company value, we have it. So as you can see, we can take a loan out here, let's say a 60-month loan, at a reasonable interest rate, under 5%. So the other reason that we are struggling a little bit with cash is we're spending a lot of money. You know, we're making a decent amount of cars, actually, and we're making some money on those cars, but we are spending $1.2 million on research and $850,000 on marketing. So between research and marketing, we're spending everything that we're making. And we also have the loan payment of $500,000 and engineering of $160,000. So we've got a lot of expenses right now, but we can't fall behind. Now with marketing, you know, you can see it's the categories we're really going for: top speed, convertible, smoothness, really aiming for this GT supercar area. Helvetia, we actually are gonna start decreasing the marketing in the Helvetia. It's we're just not selling any cars there. You know, when you look at, you go here to monthly sales data. So here's Fruenia. You know, we're selling a lot of GT cars. 22 GT cars, 3 GT Premium, 15 convertible sport, a lot of family sport premium, 14 there for a 2+2, not bad. So we're selling a ton here. And Delua, same thing. We're selling a lot of cars here, a lot of convertibles as well. We're getting into the light sport premium and some GT. But Helvetia, this is blah. You know, 3 cars here, a couple muscle, a couple sport, 2 GT, 2 convertibles. It's just, we're marketing as much there as everywhere else. As you can see here, we're putting more money into Helvetia than Delua, but we're hardly selling anything compared to Delua. So it's not making sense to put this 300 in there when we're losing 300 a month. We could instead be breaking even. Jumping ahead, we are now in 1967 and about to start our final facelift of the Amakua car. We already started the engine, which I can go over with you what we did there. We launched the original Amakua, which is our big sellers now, and the first version of the Amakua 2, which has the old engine in it. So we're actually selling 32 of those a month. We're making a little bit of money. This new version will have the new engine as well. The Amakua 1, in the meantime, is selling quite nicely now. We're selling over 200 a month, making $3.5 million on it. As you can see, our cash position has improved greatly. We are now sitting on $22.5 million cash, despite the company value and the credit score not being the greatest. But this cash position is really looking good for us. We're still spending a ton, $1.4 million on research, $1.1 million on marketing, so we've upped that to $2.5 million now. Our loan did increase a bit. We're at $1.2 million for the loan, which is a little concerning considering we're still not that big of a company. For the Ocean 2, these are the two engine variants we have. So we're replacing the 5-liter from the Ocean 1 engine with a 5-liter in the Ocean 2. We're actually keeping the horsepower the same, 300 horsepower, 305 torque. Just a lighter engine now that it's aluminum. Even though the base is bigger, it's still a lighter engine. We improved a lot of things about it. The smoothness, I think the efficiency was better. So it's just going to be an overall upgrade for those cars. For the 6.2 liter, this is the big one for us. Loudness, 96. That's fine. So let's take a look at this. Sorry it's all grayed out here, but we're looking back at an engine that's already done. So we were able to get this up to 730 horsepower and 465 torque. Maxing out the RPMs here at 8,400. So this time, just like our last engine, we went extremes with cam profile, springs and lifters, DCOE, 6 carbs, race intake, still using avgas as we still sell in Duluin. Our plan is to only sell these cars in Duluin. It will be the only ones that can buy the Extreme Amakua 2. It'll actually be the first time that the only buyers that can buy an Amakua, a new Amakua body, are in Duluin because we don't have any other versions of this car. We do have the tubular race, no mufflers. Try to get the max performance out of this thing. Alright, into the cars. I will show you real fast the original Amakua. So, as you know, it's a 1945 body that we're using, so it's 22 years old. But we still have desirability of 121% in the GT. And in convertible sport, 139% for this. And that's with a 14% body age penalty. 13% for GT. That's pretty huge. And it is what it is. We'll figure something out for the next decade. We will discontinue this body. It doesn't make sense to keep it even longer. So we were able to upgrade to the 5-speed manual. This will help in both our supercar and our GT cars. We did end up switching to magnesium now in this. Still have the solid disc, semi-clad. So here we did make the switch. I talked about it before. We kept with sport. We're selling enough and able to increase the price enough that it made sense to go to the handmade. We don't want to spend the money because we don't have the money to keep upgrading the factories. We would rather keep small and charge more. So that is our plan. Is we're going to keep giving it more luxury, more prestige, and keep charging the customer more to hopefully grow the profits that way, rather than making a bigger company as far as production goes. We stuck with manual rack and pinion. The car's still under 3,000 pounds. It doesn't really make sense to go to hydraulic. You just, as you can see here, you lose so much sportiness for just a couple clicks in comfort. It's not worth it. We are going full advanced technology now with the GT versions. Technology, advanced safety. They will appreciate the extra safety. We've also switched to progressive gas monotube. It gives us a little more into comfort, which, you know, GT cares about. They care almost as much about comfort as they do sportiness. They like a very well-balanced, high in everything type of car. Not easy to market to. But here you can see, we're jacked up the prices a ton. You know, we were in the high 20s before. Now we're at 35.9 and 37.9. And, you know, we're estimating to sell 146 of them at that. And we're only at 22% awareness. If we gain 10% awareness, which going from 22 to 32 should not be that tough, we'll jump to 197, which you'll be able to see here will not be practical with the factory we're using. So the current factory we have is a small one. We can make 147, which is exactly what we're going to sell. So my strategy here has always been, instead of spending more money that we don't have or is very tight right now, to increase the factory, let's increase the price. So if we launch this car and we end up selling 180 a month, instead of doing a facelift and going up to a small 2, which would be probably 2 to 220 we can make cars, that's also going to cost us at least $10 million. Let's just raise the price. We could probably raise the price another 10% or so, bring the sales back down to 147, 150-ish, but have more margin, more profit without having any cost involved. So that is how we're going to attempt to grow this company. The cost here between both cars, $15.5 million. So we're not going to take a loan out. Even though it's not a bad interest rate, we're still paying over $1 million a month in old loans, which hurts. I mean, you know, if we had that $1 million that we could put towards research or marketing to grow the company even more, that obviously be the better choice than to be paying interest to a bank. So we don't need a loan for this. You know, we're making money still, $1 million a month, and have $22.5 million. So we should be able to cover this 15, and hopefully we might be done with loans. All right, so let's look at the Amakua 2. We kept the name of the Coupe S on this one. As you can see, our price is going to be $44.5. So decent margin, not amazing, not as much as the original Amakua is at right now, but still making a few dollars, even though that's not our goal. We're just trying to make the fastest car with this one. It's in the tiny factory that we have in Helvetia. This factory will always carry our world's fastest car because of this limited production. We've got it scheduled to come out in 30 months. And part of the reason, if you saw, I did not release this together with the engine, which I normally do because it makes things easier to balance the numbers. We just, you know, we didn't need the time on it. It's, as you can see, it's we're at 100% optimized process, 50% reliability. Sorry, it's not percent, it's just a number, I guess. But we've got funding and pressure all the way down. We can't really go lower. The only thing we could increase is tooling, but we don't want to increase tooling because we don't want to produce that many. We don't have the engines to put in it. We'd have to then increase the engine factory. And we'd have to reduce the cost to have the sales match up with how many we could produce. So we want to leave it at this manual process for this car. We did upgrade it to the 5-speed. So transverse rear-wheel drive, 5-speed manual. The clutched LSD did not help us out here, so we left it open. Big reason for this too is the engineering time behind it. I know I just said we kind of had the time, but it's just unnecessary. You don't need it with a mid-engine car. As you can see, our wheel spins at 0.3 right now. and we had to keep the spacing low to get to the top speed that we wanted. We stuck with the hard long life still. I still think at some point we might switch maybe to the medium or sports. As we get to these higher speeds, I don't know if we need the grip more than, you know, the roll resistance gains from the hard long life. Semi-clad. So here we've got 15 quality on the aero on it, which hurts us because we only have 2.5 in tech pool. But as you saw, we're fine. You know, we're still getting this car out. So we upped our body quality to +4 now. Again, it hurts because we've only got 1 in tech pool. So the 4 costs more than if we had more in the tech pool here. But we had to do it to try to get the speed up as much as we could. With our price of $44,500, we're expected to sell 27. And just like the other car, you know, we're only at 18% awareness for our target of super. If we just gain 10%, which with our marketing should not be a problem, we're up to 39 cars. And that's, I believe our factory can make 42. So we're right in line with this number. And if we jump even more, you know, we'll just be able to keep raising the price on it and hopefully start growing our company that way. Alright, now for the test track. Let's go to the salt pan. Alright, so this is saying 252. Let's see what we can get here. $256. It's a sigh because we're short. You know, we still haven't hit last decade's numbers from Dattmer or Razzo. We're short. We actually just passed for the first time Dattmer Velocity's 1950 record. Believe it or not, it took us 20 extra years to hit Dattmer Velocity's 1950 number, and we still have not hit Razzo's 285 number from 1950, let alone their 285 mile an hour and 303 mile per hour 1960 records, which I am sure they will smash right after we come out with this car again. But 256 isn't bad. Our last car was 235. You know, this is basically just an upgraded engine of our last engine. We didn't go crazy with it. We're still at a 6.2 liter V12. So to be able to hit 256 miles an hour in 1970 with a 6.2 liter V12 to us is a very nice achievement. Here we are with the 1969 launch in December of 1969. We are still doing okay financially. Not much has changed since we signed off on these projects a couple of years ago. Research, we have up to 2.1, meaning we're over $3 million in research and marketing now. So pre-orders. We've got 286 pre-orders for the new Amakua 2 that hit 256 miles an hour. That's a lot of pre-orders. 7-month backlog. The Amakua 1, 766 and 585. So combined 9-month backlog. The good news about this, as I've shown before, we can raise these prices. We'll see exactly what the numbers look like as we get into January, but chances are we're going to be able to increase these prices, you know, giving us more profit overall. So let's see. Do we actually deliver any Amakua 2s? And for those of you who don't know, Amakua is a Hawaiian deity, commonly shown as a shark or shark god, which is where the name comes from. Alright, so we sold 28 more, and we delivered 41. Great. 87% margin. As you can see, it's, you know, we sold 28, we're making 41. It's, even though we have 6.5 months of backlog orders, which is a huge desirability penalty. So this, if we reduce this, this number should actually go up, as our desirability sucks right now. Nobody wants it, but 28 people are still buying it. So we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm not going to change the price right now. We're just going to keep producing it and let this number naturally go down. This car, you know, we're at 156 sales, making 173. And this is actually this plant, and it's producing a 2.2 shift. So we're overproducing to get there. This we might be able to increase the price. Because this will take a very long time to get this number down, and we're still making $3.5 million on this version. As you can see, even after the first month tick, we're still losing $500,000. Oh, that's why we took out a loan on one of the cars. I didn't think we did. I'll have to go back and look at that. I didn't think we did, but we obviously must have. So that's why this is not what we thought it was going to be. Because at launch we were at 500,000, and all of a sudden we're at 1.5 million. Just to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, so we do have quite a bit of a loan. We're going to have to work through that. But you know what? Raising this price, especially, it'll eliminate this quickly, and get our amazing company valuation of 4.6 million higher. Yeah, we've got plenty of cash, and like I said, we're putting over $3 million into here that we don't need to. So we're not financially, we're fine. We're not in trouble. You look at research and development. So we've started to increase these. We've now got 3 in the body, 3 in the aero, and aero's almost up to the 3 in current tech pool. Body's got a little way to go. Engine architecture, bottom end, and turbos. We've increased all this, and we will keep increasing this. That's what the future holds for us. We will be able to hit turbos. You know, that's coming in a few years. We'll, you know, change the engine for that. One of the first facelifts we will do on the engine, though, is the mechanical fuel injection. We don't have that. So for our 1970 car, it did not have this. It just didn't make sense with the engineering time involved in it. So we were still on DCOE for the 1970 launch. So for the 1980, we're going to have turbos. It'll be a 6.2 liter aluminum engine with turbos and direct fuel injection. Not much else is going to change. You know, we're not putting this in there. No two-way Cadillac converters going in there. Fully clad, we will not hit it. From my experience, when you already have a car with an aerodynamic system, changing it adds dramatically to the engineering. So even if we push this out a few years earlier, because we are 3 years ahead of time, so we will get this around 76, 77. I don't think we can get this engineered into the car in time. So we're going to aim for the 1990 launch to go with the fully clad. Looking at marketing real quick. So in Ferrari, this, we didn't change much here. This is very costly marketing. We did up Delua a little bit, as this is now our biggest market. And we didn't change anything with Avacia, but we didn't increase it either. So we're still at 300,000. But any extra money that we're putting into countries will go to Delua and Ferrari. as you can tell, this pie chart looks a little different than last time. Delua now has the largest chunk. And I don't... Okay, why am I advertising in Arcana? I don't... They don't deserve to get $70,000 in my marketing money. We need that money.